When I begin working with a new client, the first thing that we do is recraft their core message. We want to make sure that it inspires their ideal prospects to sit up and take notice, to want to do business with them. If we don't take the time to do that up front, then we're going to be pretty disappointed in the results we get from our marketing activities. If you wanted to catch some fish, you wouldn't buy a fishing rod, charter a boat for the day, and then once you were out on the water, put something random on the end of the line and hope that it would work. That will lead to a pretty frustrating day of fishing. Same is true with our marketing. If we don't create the message that will inspire our ideal prospects to contact us, if we don't create that bait in the first place, then what are we doing investing in marketing? We're going to be pretty disappointed in the results. It has to start here. It has to start by crafting a compelling message. So that's why I picked that as the topic for this first tips video, a few ideas to help you create a more compelling marketing message.
Just like you have to have the right bait if you want to catch fish, you have to have an effective message if you want to get clients. There's really no way around it. So this is the logical place to start. The great thing about this is whether you're just beginning or you've been in business for a long time, there's always opportunity to improve your marketing activities by ramping up your message even just a little bit, by making it more effective. So that's what we'll get into in this video. There are 3 steps to pulling this off. The first one is to help you gain a new frame of reference. You'll never think about marketing and creating writing or copy or marketing messages the same way again. So that's what we're going to cover in this video. Number 2, you have to hear from your clients. You'll understand why I'm saying that after you watch this video, but it kind of makes sense. How can you learn how to speak to your prospective clients if you haven't heard from them? And then finally, you integrate what you've learned into your existing marketing. It's simple, 1, 2, 3. We won't go into much detail on item number 3, cover that more with people who join the Double in a Year program, but the ebook down below this video and some of what I'll be talking about in these short tips will certainly help you. I love this quote from Seth Godin. It's never been more true than right now. It's really hard to get people's attention. Think about all the messages that you're inundated with. In your email, when you go online and do a Google search, there's advertisements all over the screen. You have no choice but to try to filter things out. That's what we've become. We've become experts at filtering out what we deem is not relevant. So we have to think of the prospects that we're trying to reach as somebody like this, overwhelmed with information and generally not impressed with what you have to say unless it really strikes a chord. So if your plan is to break through the clutter and get your prospects' attention by just being louder and more frequent and more belligerent than your competition, I think you can understand why that's not a good plan. You won't have a good feeling from your prospect by the time they decide to pay attention. What we have to do is craft a message that by itself breaks through the clutter and captures their attention because it's just so relevant to them. So now to help you gain a perspective so you can always do a better job of this, I want you to imagine that there's a river. And on one side of the river are your prospects, and they have their problems, frustrations, and desires. And on the other side of the river is you. And you have your products, your services, and your capabilities. And as much as we know we're supposed to talk about benefits and not features, it's still really hard to not start that thought process with what we have to offer. We end up trying to dress up what we do or dress up what we have to make it seem interesting so that the prospect we're trying to reach on the other side of the river will stop playing around with that fire, pay attention to what we have to say, recognize the benefits. It just doesn't happen that way. What I want you to take away from this graphic is the appreciation that marketing happens on the right side of the river. It happens in the vocabulary of your prospects' problems, frustrations, and desires. Right? It's not about solving their problems at first. Our job number 1 in marketing is to just connect. Just make that connection. So let's go through a couple of examples here. First one's really easy for me because it's me. And I have to say I'm still tempted to describe myself as a marketing consultant. You can see now with this river analogy, that's definitely on the left side. It's a description of what I do. It's tempting to do that because it's short, because I get a reaction. People seem to acknowledge and seem to understand what that is. But I have to say, it doesn't lead to a whole lot of second conversations when I describe myself that way. So when I'm smart enough to resist the urge to say that, and I say something more like, I work with business owners who are frustrated that they don't have a more consistent flow of clients, right? An expression of a frustration. Or I work with business owners who would like a more consistent flow of clients. I get a lot more interest. It's more frequent that I have a follow-up conversation or a question comes out of that. And notice that I haven't said anything about how I solve that frustration, what my services are. I haven't mentioned the word marketing in there at all, because I'm just trying to connect with my ideal prospect in where they are, what they're wrestling with. All right, let's go a little bit more simple and tactical. I've done webinars over the years, and for a while I had one that pretty much boiled down to how to create an effective marketing message, what we're talking about right here. And I would conduct this once in a while and get some interest, but it wasn't kind of taking off the way that I would like. So I tried to take my own message, my own medicine here, and I changed the title to How to Get Your Ideal Prospects to Stop Ignoring You. This was something I was doing several years ago. And I have to say, I got a whole bunch more attention. I was planning to do an in-person workshop with an organization. I happened to have the information about the webinar in my email signature. And while we were trying to finalize the details, I sent one over and I happened to include that email signature. And I got the response saying, wow, tell me more about this Stop Ignoring webinar. Can we switch to that subject? I would very frequently get people interested and certainly more signups online for this webinar, even though the content was the same. I just changed the title. I was very purposeful about the wording. Think about what it feels like to be ignored. That gets an emotional reaction. I really tried to picture what my prospects are wrestling with. They invest their time and energy and money in some kind of marketing, an advertisement, going to an event, and when they don't get the response that they like, when people don't take interest, it really hurts at several levels, right? It hurts to be ignored. And so that's why this title worked. I really hit a nerve. Let's go through a quick example of a client of mine, a software engineering consulting firm. And they were in the habit of describing themselves, their practice, as, hey, we are software engineering craftsmen. And to them, that communicated a lot about their values, about their diligence, about the quality of their work. But it wasn't getting them much business. So I interviewed their clients. I heard a lot about how satisfied they were with the functionality of the software that they got, that they were surprised at how much more productive they could be when the software was crafted, was designed specifically for their business practice. People were extremely happy and kind of surprised at the result. So we put together a tagline, custom software solutions that work, so your people can too. Because productivity was really what their target client was looking for. So when my client would go out to networking opportunities and use this tagline, they always got a reaction. We didn't leave it at just that. We incorporated these ideas into their website copy, into their collateral, and we don't know for sure, but it certainly seemed to have an impact. They started to get more clients. They got so busy that one of their main clients who got a little jealous and ended up buying the firm. So this recrafting of the message contributed to a really successful outcome for this company. So aside from the fishing analogy, I wanted to share one more analogy with you. I want you to picture riding this bike when the tires are about half full. They're about half the air of what they're supposed to have. So as you're riding this bike, what does it feel like? It's probably a little harder to get around than it should be. A little frustrated. You're sweating, right? You're still getting somewhere, but everything is harder than it should be. And that's what it's like to have marketing based upon a message that isn't as effective as it should be. You'll still get leads. You'll get some activity. It's not broken, but it's not working as well as it should. It makes everything you're doing in your marketing harder than it should be. So crafting a message that's more effective is just like putting air in the tires of this bicycle. Everything else gets easier. Progress gets easier. Okay, so what's next? Down below this video, you have a worksheet for the 5 W's. Very easy for you to do. Should take no more than 15 minutes. Now, of course, I want you to put thought into it, so you may want to do it once, sleep on it, do it again, try to refine it. So spend some time with drafting and improving upon. Don't scratch your head forever. Go ahead and fill it out, but then go through some iterations. Now, the second step, oh, well, here, I also included the ebook, Irresistible Marketing Message. That link is down below. Ebook is kind of a generous title. It's more like a long article. Should take you only a few minutes to read that. Gives you a few more exercises. So I really encourage you to look through that and help you solidify what we just talked about in this video. But what I was going to say, a bigger task is to interview your clients. You'll have some information in the ebook about that, but that's what I'll cover more in the next video. How to get your clients to craft your message for you. If you interview them, ask them the right questions, and listen in the right ways, they can really make it easy for you. And you'll get some additional benefits along the way. So again, you've got the 2 downloads below this video. If you have any questions, use the comments and enjoy better results from your marketing.